like to call the Thursday, August 26th, Wilton Board of Education regular meeting to order. All our members are present. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda, and is there a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Glenn. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Laura. All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the public. I do not see anyone physically here. Lucille, did we receive any public comments by email?
No, we did not.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thanks, Mandy.
Second.
Thanks, Glenn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, board chairs report. I want to keep this brief because, again, we have a long agenda, but I want to congratulate Dr. Smith and his whole staff on just a wonderful, energetic, appropriate, normal, happy convocation yesterday. It was my honor and privilege to be able to address the group for a couple of minutes, and I thought it important that the public hear a little bit about what I said. So these are truncated remarks, but I think we all feel this way. I said, Wilton students and families are excited to start school for a good reason. Our faculty is one of the best faculty and staff found anywhere in the world. Our faculty credentials, training, and experience are unparalleled. Their skills, professionalism, and dedication are extraordinary. Our teachers' compassion for and attention to each and every student is inspiring. Our teachers have proven over and over again that they can do anything. Whether it's last-minute schedule changes, technology that decides not to work, a hard-to-reach student, or a global pandemic, they work through it all because they are creative and resilient. And they are part of a team. They have expert colleagues and leaders ready to collaborate and partner on the host of issues that come with every school year. They are even stronger together. I hope they know our board supports them. We hope they feel they have the resources, professional development, class sizes, curriculum materials, technology, etc., to create the classroom conditions they need. In a board meeting this week, earlier, Vice Chairman Glenn Hemmerly observed that teaching today is harder than ever before. There is so much that teachers need to know and be able to do. Certainly, the world keeps presenting new and unique challenges. But we know our teachers will meet those challenges because, in addition to their incredible talents, they are courageous. So we look forward as a board and a community to Monday when our students arrive, each with individual hopes and dreams for the school year. We are right to entrust our kids to our faculty. We know they will work their magic to make those hopes and dreams a reality. So thank you, Dr. Smith, for such a great convocation outside and in person. One more thing I wanted to highlight was earlier this week we had a workshop on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We began a conversation. I want to thank Superintendent Smith, Assistant Superintendent Chuck Smith, our K-8 Humanities leader Karen Brennicke, Middlebrook teacher and chair of the district DEI committee Michael Gordon, high school English teacher Hala Harani, and social studies teachers Molly Palmer and Laura Fayek for their time and research and presentation. Concepts, goals, and links to the Portrait of the Graduate aspirations and subject area standards, as well as examples of curriculum material and instructional strategies were presented. So I encourage everyone to view the meeting. The video and slide deck are on our district website. Follow-up includes work for the policy committee and the Board of Ed Teaching and Learning Committee, as well as parent workshops in the future. And finally, as Dr. Smith did, I wanted to recognize our board member, Glenn Hemmerly, Vice Chair. He has been on our board for 10 years. This is his last school opening. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of us. So thank you. Superintendent Smith.
Great, thank you. Just a couple of remarks. First, we always like to start with celebrations. Catherine Luckstone, our theater director, sent out a note today sharing with the school community that over the summer, the 2020 fall play, All in the Timing, won the State Halo Awards adjudication for Best Play. Well, that's great
quite
news.
something.
So
Great.
that play was directed by Kevin Slater, and then the sets were prepared by Christian Planton. And the play was live streamed back in fall as a result of COVID. But a couple of our students, Timothy Grace and Sarah Bennett, won Best Dynamic Duo in a play. And then Best Specialty Ensemble in a play was taken by 4 of our students, Emily Bear, Nala Clark, Matthew Huang, and Aki Lasher. So congratulations to all of those involved, and that's a great honor.
That's great. Well deserved.
And as you noted, convocation was yesterday, and it was hot but celebratory, triumphant. I think it was the first time that our faculty has been together in person since August 2019. I want to thank our high school teachers who refer to themselves as the house band. They've been playing together for some time, and they provided the musical entertainment as they always do, and so gave us a lot of energy. And then our keynote was 5th grader Elise Penku, who
Amazing.
Stole the show.
Amazing.
Right? So we all fell in love with her. She's amazing, and was really, I think, wonderfully inspiring to our staff. She spoke about the teachers who really kind of moved her and motivated her to get engaged, get involved, and become active around her concerns. So she was really tremendous.
It was remarkable.
Yeah, so that was just it was a great day, even despite the very warm weather. Jen and I were at Meet the Teacher together today over at Middlebrook School, so another wonderful ritual that feels pretty normal. So I have 2 kiddos at Cider Mill, and I was there, and then at Middlebrook, and I think you'll hear when the principals present, there was just great energy in the building, and lots and lots of enthusiasm from our students, their parents, and certainly our teachers. And then my last update, this is much more businessy. You may recall we have been engaged in informal negotiations with both UPSU and AFSCME. Both, I think Jen and Ruth, you served on the negotiations committee. We do have an update about both of those negotiations, so we'll schedule a meeting hopefully for next week or early the week after, so we can provide the update and see where we are, and then we'll provide an update to the full board after that. So that's in process. Thank you.
Great.
Just to add to the convocation is that thank you to all the custodial staff, set up, Lucille, congrats, thank you for all the work she did getting there. It was just a fantastic day. It really was.
Yeah.
It was a really great event.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that moves us on to our review and discuss items. The first one being an opening 2021 update. So I'm not sure how this is, which order you want to go in, so I'll leave it up to you,
Great.
Dr. Smith.
So kind of picking up where we left off last week, we provided a lot of the technical and operational details at the district level. I thought the continuation made sense to pick up with our school administrators, and they can provide a brief update about each of the buildings. So we'll start with Dr. O'Donnell at the high school, and we'll just kind of work our way down to and finish off with Mrs. Kuhn at Miller Driscoll.
Thank you, Dr. Smith, and good evening, everybody. Wilton High School is poised right now for an outstanding school year. Firstly, we had a really good hiring season. We hired some excellent teachers and school counselors, so our students will be in really good hands. We're really looking forward to this faculty recruitment class of 21-22, and some of you will meet them tomorrow. All of the summer preparations are coming to fruition. The facility is looking really good over the last couple days, and it will be safe and healthy, and that's what's important and what we need as we go into this school year. The master schedule under the leadership of Brian Keating and Sandy Lund actually was ahead of schedule this year. Sandy just kept saying, we're in such good shape and we're ready, and the schedule looks good with very few conflicts. So the school counselors, I think, will have very little to do with student schedules, and the few that we have, we've been attending to already. So we want the students to start out Monday just feeling very comfortable, and I know they're so excited to see their teachers. We had our Wilton High School convocation yesterday, and the energy with the staff and faculty is literally palpable. It's a different school year. You can sense that it's a different school year. I think the teachers feel as if some of the limitations on their the breadth of their teaching applications is being lifted. And to a person, they were just so excited. The common refrain, of course, was, we can't wait to see the kids on Monday. And I would add all the kids, because we're looking forward to having all the students back. We also honored our Wilton High School custodial staff there because, again, they've been ensuring the health and safety of the building. And we had some keynote speakers, none other than Kathy Campbell, Rita Ranawala, and Jackson, our student government officer. So they were really just so poignant as they expressed their appreciation for what the teachers and the staff did last year, and of course what they will do this year. And we've been in touch with a lot of the students. It's a beautiful thing to see a lot of students already in the building, many freshmen coming through and doing tours, excited to know where their lockers will be and located in their classrooms. And we're taking the opportunity to talk to them, make them feel, really just completely comfortable. And finally, before I turn it over to Brian, we had our Instructional Leadership Institute earlier in the week, where we focused on just some really important things that are going to ensure a good school year. First of all, building strong connections with students, using common formative assessments and formative assessments to ensure that we're getting to know what the students' strengths are and their skill sets so we can teach to them. Providing appropriate scaffolding so that all of our students are working from a level playing field and are all in a position to excel. And also that we're designing, certainly rigorous instructional tasks that are accessible to all of our students and that will, really just celebrate their learning and have an outstanding experience. So we're really in good shape right now. Brian is going to talk about things through, and we're looking forward to freshman and student orientation tomorrow. So I'll turn it over to our great associate principal, Brian Keating.
Thank you very much, Dr. O'Donnell, and thank you to the Wilton Board of Education for the invitation to join the meeting tonight. And my quick comments here. We have had, over the past couple of weeks, to echo Dr. O'Donnell's comments, the Link Crew team in getting ready, and I think that was when we really started to feel the excitement build, because the kids were in the hallways, they were in the classrooms, they were getting the training under our advisors, Kim Zemo, Pam Scott, Kathy Weiss, Deb Marino, Mike Walsh. Everybody's set, ready to go. The kids have been excited. The Link Crew student leaders have been excited, and now that excitement has spread, so we're ready to roll with that. We have our freshman student orientation and our freshman parent orientation tomorrow too. And everything's going to be starting in the morning, and everybody will have a chance to hear from different types of voices, from administration, from teachers, from students, and very uniquely and wonderfully from other parents. So we're excited about that and ready for that tomorrow. Just to echo Dr. O'Donnell's comments, you could feel the excitement with everybody coming back this week, all staff, with everything getting put into classrooms and moved around, finishing touches getting put on. So definitely Monday, there's a great deal of anticipation for Monday. And speaking of that, and kind of tying it all together, our Link Crew has some wonderful activities planned so that we have not only our introduction to classes and teachers next week, but we also have some advisories where we'll be focusing on some SEL activities, menu choices for everybody to use so that we can tailor things appropriately for the kids who are in front of us. And just echo the excitement all around. So thank you.
Great. Questions for Bob?
No. Thank you very much. It sounds wonderful.
Okay, I think that means it's my turn. So good evening, everyone. Jory Higgins. I'm happy to share a little bit about what's going on in Middlebrook. And as parents, Kevin Smith said earlier, we did have our walkthrough today. And Dr. Smith was one of the many parents that were filling our buildings with love and excitement for the brand new school year. And we're certainly very excited to welcome our students back on Monday. As Dr. O'Donnell said, the energy was palpable in the building today. There's nothing like getting the students back in the building to just raise that level of excitement and fun. I do think a number of the students were not being completely truthful with me when I said, are you ready to get back to school? And they were saying yes, instead of wanting to come up with summer. But really, a lot of wonderful positive energy today, and that's a nice reminder of why we do it, and it was great to see the kids today. This week, we were blessed to be able to have full staff and faculty meetings in person. And one of the things that I shared with the staff was I was quoting our U.S. Department Secretary, Dr. Cardona, when he said in a webinar I attended this summer, he talked about the Masai warrior greeting that is empower the children. And the question that how they would greet each other is they would say, empower the children. And the traditional response is, the children are well. And that was the tenor with which we started our meetings this year, and really just making sure that we remind each other to take a look. It's not a big jump to just go from the Masai warrior to the Wilton warrior, of course, I piggybacked on that quite a bit. But having an opportunity to have the staff in person, the instructional teams meeting in person, just started to give our building a sense of normal, and that was a wonderful thing. We're having healthy and safe gatherings, and we are ready, and we're ready in a large part. And since he's on the call, I want to give a little shout out to Mr. Figueroa and his team for making sure that the building is ready. There's an awful lot of work that happens over the summer, and Jose and his crew have done a fantastic job to make sure that Middlebrook will be ready. So, Jose, thank you. I'm really proud of the Middlebrook staff. They just have an incredible focus and attention on the social and emotional well-being of our students. That's been the focus of a lot of our conversations this past week. Attention and focus to making sure that when the children arrive, that they're okay, that they have adults that they trust, that eventually they get to a point where they are feeling comfortable with those trusted adults. And then also being very attentive still to the support and celebration of the accomplishments of our students. And last year was hard. It was hard for the students, it was hard for the adults. And we recognize that our staff works very hard to not only recognize that, but also provide avenues to support the students, to help them be successful and be able to say, as the warriors would say, and the children are well. They do that always, and they were really focused on that this past week. We also had the opportunity to welcome a few new staff members, as Dr. O'Donnell mentioned at the high school. We have a few new faces, and new faces, new places at Middlebrook as well. And it was fun to get to know some of those folks. We actually have more formal orientations happening for them tomorrow. So we'll get to do it a little backwards. Instead of having that happen Monday, we're doing that tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to have maybe more direct questions that they have of how the week went. And so, again, we're happy, we're excited, can't wait to have the children with us on Monday. And now I get to hand it over to my friend and colleague, Dr. Falcone, to give you the Cider Mill update.
Yeah, Joe, hold on. We think we might have a few questions for you.
Troy, we've had some questions about lunch and what lunch is going to look like. Are the kids, if they're in the building, going to have assigned seats?
Sorry about that. I forgot there might be questions. I thought since Bob got away with no questions, I might get away with
Good
no
try.
questions.
He's like, fingers moving on.
No such luck, sorry.
All right.
So our plan is to have lunch outside whenever
Yep.
possible. That was one of our silver linings from last year. And so the plan is to eat outside whenever weather permits, whether it be temperature or moisture. And then for the days when we can't do that and we must be inside, roughly about 2/3 of the kids will be able to be in the cafeteria, and then the overflow will be in one of the gymnasiums. So while they won't have assigned seats, they're going to have seats that are enough space in between them, certainly a minimum of 3 feet between them.
Okay, so the question also was if they are inside for multiple days in a row, will they be able to sit someplace else each day? Someplace different each day,
At lunch or
at lunch?
So if you've ever come to Middlebrook with any kind of regularity at lunch, they don't switch their seats. They find their little corner and their table, and that's pretty much the table they stay at all year. So They know they're welcome to change seats. Sometimes we get little changes depending upon the sports season that's happening. But the kids are welcome to change their seats. They're able to change their seats. There'll be regular cleaning between each lunch period, let alone each day in the cafeteria and gymnasium area, so that's not a problem. And I just so you know that this was all included in my last Friday letter too, so hopefully that's not brand new information for parents.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else for Joy?
Yep.
Great. Dr. Falcone, good evening.
All right, good evening. Hi, everybody. So I'm sure I'm going to try not to repeat a lot of things, but we had Meet the Teacher today, and it was just so exciting to be back and to have the kids coming in, and the teachers were all in, and school looks like school, which is just fantastic. I can't say enough about how excited all of our staff are to be back and back into a building that looks like school once again. So I would be remiss to not thank my staff last year. What they had done was just unbelievable. They were teaching kids, remotely and on site every day. As elementary teachers, they were preparing for, 5+ content areas, fully in Schoology, teaching and CytoMail. They were doing both. So just so thankful for the efforts. And, we were reflecting in the beginning of this year and just so proud and happy for even how our kids did last year, for all things being said, everybody made it through last year with flying colors, and we're really proud of that. I want to thank, like Jory did, our custodians and all of our faculty for helping to get the building ready. It's quite a feat, especially when we had to reset up and empty, the storage containers and everything. So I just want to thank our custodians. And I'll go through and just quickly update some of the COVID updates that we have. But again, they were all shared in multiple emails home as well. But we have, hopefully we'll have a lot more students taking the bus with masks on in assigned seats. That's going to be huge. Contact tracing really does depend. Hopefully we're not going to deal with that, but it does depend on assigned seats. And so that'll be a huge thing, but we're really hoping that kids go back to taking the bus so that dismissal and drop off can run a little more smoothly and business as usual. As I said, the classroom environments look very typical. We'll obviously have masks, there'll be social distancing, but we're happy to say that they'll be sharing materials. We have lockers again. Lunchtime, we will be using the science lab, and they still are in desks just to provide that social distancing while masks are off. Like Middlebrook, we're going to try to optimize outside time to eat lunch. Sometimes that gets hard depending on the age of the students, because there's nowhere to really put your lunch. So we kind of work that out, and sometimes they do eat outside, sometimes they don't, but they have an assigned area in the cafeteria for when they are eating inside. I'm trying to think what else. Washing hand, that's going to be another really big mitigation strategy, kind of moving in and out of classrooms or any transitions before and after lunch. That way, that really allows us to more safely share different manipulatives, materials, and what have you. And again, we're asking families to support us when bringing any kind of food in for snack, that there's just no sharing of food continued going into the school year. I'm happy to, the other thing is we're really excited to be able to have visitors again. We really missed that last year. And so being masked and having volunteers are also welcomed back, going through the background checks and everything. But we are very excited to be able to have families and visitors back in our building. I think that's it, unless anybody has questions.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I think I'm last
but hopefully not least this time. Usually I go first with all the littles, so I think like Jory said, the littles are well. They are well, as are the very grown-up people in addition. So we also had Meet the Teacher today, and it was great to welcome preschool and kindergarten, some of those kiddos for the very first time into our school. But another added attraction today was our first graders who, you know, many of them came to school last year, but their parents didn't get to come in. So it was great to see the first graders walking their parents around and kind of showing them around the school, because the parents had never been in, and the parents were like, this is a beautiful school, I can't believe it. And we all were reminded that, like Jen said, the parents weren't allowed to come into school last year. So we had an amazing Meet the Teacher. Again, the kids are excited. The teachers are excited. The parents, it's the most wonderful time of the year for them because, you know, next Monday, their children are ours. So we're super happy about that. Over the last few days, we also did a lot of professional development with the staff. I want to thank my leadership team because they walked the entire certified staff through a little walk down memory lane called Life Before COVID, where we revisited a lot of our initiatives. And then I introduced the accelerated learning framework, which you'll hear about a lot this year. And we kind of connected what we were doing before we left in March of 2020 to this acceleration framework. So it was a great way to just get the year started. So that was very exciting. I also want to thank the custodians. Rudy Angel is truly an angel, and you know, he moved things, he cleaned things. His crew worked really hard this summer, especially given the fact that we hosted ESY and several different summer camps. So he did an incredible job and was always just, Kathy, what are we doing today? Tell me something great. That's what he loves to say every day. So we love him. I also have to give a shout out to our secretaries who worked this summer. So Teas Majeski, Patty Terranova, and Heather Maloney. We had a brand new enrollment process this year through Power School, and they did an amazing job. Certain times I would walk out into the office and Teas would be looking at people's driver's license. And so we talked about, it looked like she was working for the DMV, but all three of them did an amazing job, and the kids are all ready to come in. And last but not least, I just want to give a shout out to our newbies. We hired a lot of new paras, a new cafeteria aide, and we hired 8 new teachers. So they are bringing some amazing energy to our school. Like Jen said, a lot of things, you know, are getting a little bit more back to normal. We will have a little bit different of a plan for lunch for our kiddos. So we're going to rotate kids through the cafeteria so we can keep them distanced. And when it's not their turn to be in the cafeteria, they'll eat in their classrooms like they did last year. And we'll make sure we get them, you know, 3 feet apart, or we will use some sneeze guards for that. A lot of information went out to the parents, a welcome back letter, an FAQ. Kevin's went out. We have a What's the Scoop at Miller Driscoll. So hopefully people feel very informed. And again, after some great presentations at Meet the Teacher, I hope everyone feels ready, because I know we are ready for Monday and we could not be more excited. So.
I have a question, and it's probably to everyone. Are you hearing any parents express concerns or anxieties about any of our health and safety measures?
I haven't heard concerns about the health and safety measures. I know there were some questions about masks today, but that was it.
Okay.
I do believe we have a few families in town that, just with our young age group, because they're not able to be vaccinated yet, there's still a little bit of fear and concern out there, but I don't think there's, it's a huge group from my understanding at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I will also say for us, because having the littles, and again, them not being vaccinated, you know, we're holding off and doing some Zoom mystery readers and birthday readers and things like that at first, as opposed to having a lot of volunteers and parents in the classroom right away. It's good. We want to see how everyone settles in. So that's a little bit different than what Dr. Falcone is doing.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, if I could, I just want to add that yesterday at the convocation, I spoke to a number of teachers, and they are thrilled to be back in a regular classroom with their touches in their classrooms. It was amazing to talk to them and how happy they are that they're able to get back without a ton of plexi, able to put their touches up, and it's their classroom again, which it wasn't last year at all. And they're thrilled. They really are. The ones I spoke to yesterday are just, excited about it.
Great.
Great. Andrea, how about an update from Special Services?
Okay, well, first and foremost, let me tell you that I'd like to thank all of the building administrative teams who worked very hard in hiring this hiring season. We have a number of new student services staff across the district, and where we were unable to find staff who met the standards that we're looking for while we refuse to settle. We have found some long-term subs to fill those positions while we continue the search for the highest quality staff that we can obtain. So I thank them for their diligence. They worked untold hours, particularly at Cider Mill and Middlebrook and the high school. The number of hours that people worked with interviews and demo lessons and reference checking, I really can't say enough about the care with which the leadership teams at all the buildings take, and Sharon D'Angelo and Melissa Barrett in searching out the right candidates for those positions. So I thank you all on behalf of the kids. After a resounding success in our ESY program, which went off beautifully due to the work of, again, Sharon and Melissa and Bernadette Hess, we had hundreds of kids come through our ESY and get back into a rhythm of learning over the summer this year. We also are welcoming more than 30 new students and families to the Wilton Public Schools, pre-K all the way through grade 12. And so teams of staff have been working hard in evaluating students, getting to know those students and their families, welcoming them to the community, and making sure that they all have IEPs that can be implemented on day one. So we have teams that have been working very, very hard over the summer to make sure that those students and their families are welcomed into the community with open arms, and their students will be cared for from day one, and their needs will be met along the way. So I want to thank all of those teams for doing that. As a result, we have had some additional staffing that we've needed to bring on board to meet the needs of some of those students. So my report puts out the FTE that we've added across the district where needed. And we are ready to go. We're working with the accelerated framework as well. So you'll hear us talk a lot about scaffolding to grade level content for students as we move forward. And you'll hear more and more about that as the days progress. And we are working hard to close the achievement gap, to engage our students and make sure that they are safe and well and moving forward across the district from pre-K to age 22. I'm happy to report that our Community Steps program will actually get back into the community, that will be back out and about in the community this year, and we can't be more excited about that. The kids are excited. We have our kids going back to Norwalk Community College, our kids going back to their job sites, both outside and inside. If you remember last year, we could only do outside work, and that was only through kind of the end of November. But so we'll be back out in the community, so look for us everywhere we go. Genesis is up and running. We had a very successful program through the month of July. We graduated 4 students who went on to 4-year universities. We have 15 students beginning the school year with us, and I have 7 students who are currently considering enrollment. As you know, we take rolling enrollment at Genesis, so kids start throughout the year. We have a number of students from other districts who are inquiring and considering placing their students at Genesis for the 21-22 school year. So we're working with those districts as we speak to make decisions about that. We're excited about a year. We're excited to get back into it. The teams are ready to roll. The teachers are excited. They're ready to see their kids and work directly with their kids from day one. So I couldn't be more excited. And again, I continue to be extraordinarily proud of the Student Services Department and the work they've done throughout this pandemic. And I have great faith that we'll be able to bring kids along and finish the unfinished learning that needs to take place. I'll take any questions you might have.
Andrea, it's Mandy. I just had a quick question. Of the 30 students, are these new to Wilton students, or are these new to special ed students that some of them might have already been in Wilton schools?
No, these are new to Wilton students and families. We also have students who have been in the Wilton schools who are newly identified, but these are students and families who've moved into Wilton and will be joining us pre-K all the way up.
Got it.
And how does that compare with last year, perhaps, or the year before?
The past few years, we've had higher numbers of students moving in, but that's really due to what's happened throughout COVID with the number of housing sales. As you see, the real estate market has been booming for the past 2 years. This is an extraordinary number of new students with disabilities for this year. Many of them might have been here last year and didn't join us because of COVID yet. They were still working remotely or doing other things, homeschooling. So they're all joining us now.
There was an attempt by a new private school for special ed students to take over the ABC house, and evidently that fell through. What do you know about that school or that system, and would it have been of value to us if they did, or I don't know what their purpose was. Yeah.
I know some about the school. It would have provided a service to perhaps students or families who didn't feel that their current programs were working.
Right.
Perhaps like any other private school for students with disabilities. I can't say. I don't know enough about what the draw would have been, what type of students they served, what level of training or background or curriculum. So I really can't speak to the school itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Andrea, the students that are considering Genesis from other districts, how does that work?
It can work in two ways. One, it can be a parent placement, like other parents who might join us from other districts and seek enrollment, or in some cases where you might have a student with a disability, the school district may be seeking support and make a placement through the PPT process, and the school district would pay tuition and transportation for the student to come. So it could happen through two avenues, and we have both.
Okay.
Parents seeking enrollment and school districts seeking enrollment.
And they would pay tuition.
They would pay tuition.
Yeah, we follow our non-resident
Right.
admissions policy.
Okay, thank you.
Andrea, are you at the point of being able to admit out-of-district students for any reason, for either reason? Or are you there yet?
We're deep in conversations on both accounts with students who may be very well suited to the program, and we have space in the program right now. We like to make sure we have enough space for our Wilton kids first.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the other side of that conversation is we're finalizing what we think the per pupil would be for that program.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, great. Good luck this year.
Yeah,
Thank you.
lot to think about.
Anything else for Andrea? No, so our last update on that agenda item is Mr. McDougall, and just a brief update on fall athletics, please.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me. We have, as of right now, 536 student athletes registered for fall sports.
Wow.
And our 10 fall sports this season, we added boys golf to the fall. They will no longer be doing spring golf. They're going to be playing in the fall now. Just the boys. The girls will still play in the spring. I do have an update on our COVID protocols based off of the CIAC Sports Medicine Committee and the Connecticut DPH. For indoor sports such as volleyball, cheerleading when they're practicing inside, and swimming when they're not in the pool. They must wear masks inside and practice their social distancing while they're on the bench. All the outdoor sports do not have to wear masks while they are playing, thank goodness. But then when they are inside, when they're using the indoor facilities, they will have to still wear their masks. So then the question comes up, what if somebody does come down with COVID? So if a student athlete or coach or staff member for that matter is in close contact with someone who has COVID, and they are fully vaccinated and they are asymptomatic, they will not have to quarantine. They will have to wear a mask. They'll have to wear a mask for until they get until they get tested. They can get tested between days 3 and 5. If the test comes back and they're negative, they do not have to wear their mask anymore, and they can go back to practice as normal.
So Chris, just
They
to be
are-
clear, that's, Chris,
Yes.
so the mask requirement, if there's an exposure, that's for outdoors? Since they're all required
That
to
is-
wear masks indoors anyway?
Indoors, you always have to wear a mask no matter what, yes.
Okay.
Yes. For those that are unvaccinated and also asymptomatic, they will have to, and they're in close quarantine, they will have to quarantine and for at least 10 days, and they can get a test after day 7, between day 7 and day 10. And if that comes back negative, then they'll be able to go back after 7 to 10 days if they get the test. If they do not get the test, they have to wait the full 2 weeks. Whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated, students or staff who are exposed to COVID-19 and have symptoms, they will have to they'll have to quarantine for 10 days if they obviously are showing symptoms. Okay, so it's a little better than last year, a lot better, I would say, for those, especially for those people that are vaccinated.
Then what about the football schedule this year, Chris?
It's not good.
Okay, I didn't think
It's a
so.
tough schedule, but the FCIAC as a whole is a tough league, so we will see what we can do. We had a good scrimmage yesterday. Coach saw some positive things, and we'll see how we go. But for the rest of the sports, they're out there right now because we slid practices back a little bit because of the heat today. We'll probably have to do the same thing tomorrow, get them so they're practicing in cooler temperatures.
Good move.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Any
Thank you.
questions for Chris? Great.
No, I think that's great, that there are so many signing up, registering, and it feels very normal. So, congrats.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so next on our agenda is a facilities update. And I think that's Jose.
It is, yep. Welcome,
All right.
Jose.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you
evening.
for having me.
Thank you.
First off, I want to acknowledge the custodial staff, the head custodians, for all their hard work that they've done. They've been working very, very hard to get our facilities ready. So I just want to acknowledge them. We too, our department has been tasked with hiring. I don't know if you all are aware that Marcus Bizito, our HVAC technician, will be retiring at the end of this year. Those are big shoes to fill. I want to thank Maria, Erica, and Tracy for helping us, search out and try to find candidates that are going to try to fill those shoes. But he's a great guy. He will be missed, but we have him for one more year. So that's going to be a tough loss for our department. I tell you, it was very nice today to go around the facilities and actually see our buildings being occupied. It was so nice seeing the students with their parents, the teachers. It just, reminded us how school is supposed to be. Last year was very, very difficult for our department, roaming down the hallways, not seeing anyone. It was just very, very challenging. So it was nice to see the students smiling with their parents and also the staff. They were very, very appreciative. So that was very nice. This year we did some upgrades to the facilities. I'll start off at Miller Driscoll. Again, Rudy is phenomenal. He does a great job at Miller Driscoll. He has a great administration there. It was just general upkeep, painting. There was a couple speaker replacements that were done down in the preschool area that was needed. We had taken care of that, and some landscaping in the front of the building. So the building's fairly new, but they're doing a great job over there, maintaining it. At Cider Mill, where was the bulk of our work that was done this summer. There's a repair to the canopy in the front entrance. It's still being worked on, but there was quite a bit that was done. There was painted, the columns were painted, the upper membrane of the roofing was done. They're still waiting for some pieces to come in due to the this Delta variant's kind of delayed everything. So we're waiting to get all the remaining components to button that up. There's also the roof on the upper part of the LLC, the library. There's some repair work that was being done there. The same thing, the roofers are working on it. They should have that buttoned up probably by the end of September. We also had a paint crew come in and paint the corridors, the cork boards in the corridors, which, kind of sprucing up the place. It was really, really nice to kind of take the pictures and look at it from, the corridors down, seeing the nice tile that were installed, the wax. It just makes the place look really, really, really nice and bright. We also replaced some speakers on the exterior of the building. We actually replaced them all. So it's better coverage when we're making announcements, and also for any lockdowns, we're able to hear it throughout the complex. We installed 7 additional speakers in the building. We had issues where if students or staff were in the restrooms and there was announcements being made, you were not able to hear them. So Lewis, our electrician, did a really, really good job of taking care of that and installing those speakers. So I want to acknowledge him for all his hard work, and what a great addition it is to have him a part of our team. At Middlebrook, we did some restroom renovation over in the outside the auditorium, the restrooms there. We replaced all the fixtures. We purchased new partitions, which is well needed. I mean, that place was it was original from, I believe, in 1965. The classroom 149 and 150, we went in and replaced the VCT tile that were in there. There was areas where the tiles were buckling up, and we needed to address it because it was a safety concern. We did some work on the climbing wall. We had it inspected. The inspection came back fine. We also did some staining on the climbing wall, so it's ready for use from our students. I know they're excited to kind of get out there and take advantage of the climbing wall. iSTEM, we went in and did some work in iSTEM, which is we removed some of the emergency shutoffs so that when the students are in there, if they're not, if they're horsing around, they won't turn off the power to the whole classroom there. We're also in the process of installing a door just to kind of, keep the kids in that space. We're waiting to get approval from the building inspector. As soon as we get that, we should have that buttoned up hopefully by this weekend. We're going to pull the permits tomorrow. At the high school, there's the elevator, the freight elevator, which is original from 1971, is being remodeled. It's not going to be ready for the start of school. We're looking at the end of September. We ran into some issues with the shaft in the pit. There's water that's coming into the elevator pit, but we've hired a company to come out and take care of that issue. So they're still working on it. There was quite a bit of painting done over at the high school. Matt and his guys have done an amazing job, getting that building ready. We also purchased a soundboard for the Clune Auditorium. Again, we're waiting for it to be delivered. Everything's delayed because of this COVID and the Delta variant. So as soon as that comes in, we'll train Christian and his staff to kind of how to use the soundboard. But our main focus this year was to kind of focus our attention on the outside of the facilities. We've noticed that there was a lot of overgrown trees, and the guys have done an amazing job in the last week or so, really addressing that. Guillermo, Cesar Patino, Rodney, that's our landscaping crew. They've gone to pretty much all the schools and, sprucing it up. When I left today, they were over at Cider Mill cutting back some of the trees. I'm gonna try to work with the town and see if they could come out and take care of some of the heavily grown area by the back of Cider Mill going down to School Road, the hill there, Catalpa. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We're ready. We have all our hand sanitizers dispensers. The custodians have gone through and replaced the batteries. They're making sure that they're in every classroom. We're providing wipes for K through 5 because I think that's the bigger need for the wipes, where the students, especially at Miller Driscoll, having lunch in the classrooms, and at Cider Mill as well. We worked with the Dr. Smith, Chuck, and Kelly on coming up with a protocol for PE. I think it's going to be successful. We're going to be able to clean the equipment at the end of the day. The custodians will be responsible for doing that. We just don't feel comfortable having students with spray bottles and horsing around. We don't want no one to get hurt, so we'll take care of that. And we're looking forward to this upcoming summer to try to do some more work at Middlebrook and get it where it needs to be. So that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Just one question. Dr. Smith already reassured us last week, but do you feel confident that our HVAC systems are going to be able to work with the added load and the hot weather and also the desire for more fresh air?
Yes, I'm 100% confident. We had a commissioning agent come out again this year, and the report should be available within the next couple of days. Mark has worked closely with them. We basically ran our systems last year at the full capacity, and everything held up. There were some areas where the equipment was, kind of older, but we repaired those exhaust fans that needed to be repaired. Again, Mark has done a phenomenal job. He is on top of it, and he does a lot of preventative maintenance. So I'm confident that we'll be able to, that our equipment is working at its peak.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to keep highlighting that because that's a major mitigation strategy. So as long as all systems are go, that's great. Thank you.
All systems up.
Jose, just kudos to you and all of your staff, the custodians at each of the
Absolutely.
buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just done a phenomenal. It's amazing how much work it's done over the summer, and we're very, very fortunate to have Jose and each of the main custodians at each of the buildings. Rudy is a prince. He's just the greatest. I mean, they all are. So thank you so much for all the hard work you guys
Yeah,
do.
thank you.
Yeah, they deserve all the credit. Those guys are awesome. They do a
Yep.
very nice job, and I would definitely let them know.
They really,
Thank you.
thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Thank you for
you.
that, Jose.
Thanks,
Please
Jose.
do.
Okay.
Hiring.
Hiring update. And
That's,
Maria?
Maria's up.
Okay, wonderful.
Hey, good evening. Hello. Thank you for allowing me to present 2 weeks in a row. I have just a few slides to share with the group this evening.
It's probably we who should be thanking you.
I'm happy to be here, as long as you'll have me. Okay. So I'm so pleased to present this update in an unprecedented year of hiring. And I want to start just by saying that the slides that I share with you this evening are updated from the slides that I shared with Lucille to share with you earlier this week, because we continue to hire. So our numbers are changing daily. And that's good news, because we want to fill all of these positions for the start of the school year, and certainly for the first few weeks of the school year. So I'm going to start with an overview of our certified staff. We had 47 positions to fill this year. And typically, just to give you a sense, we have about half that in a school year. We have 38 of those filled, and we're very excited about the staff that we've hired. I'll talk about those in just a few minutes, but we have 38 of the 47 positions filled. And you can see there on the slide what remains. The bulk of the remaining open positions are our interventionist positions that we posted later in the summer, because those are new positions. They're temporary positions for the school year for the acceleration of learning that we have planned for the year. And so, you know, we're certainly focusing on those positions. We're not surprised that they're not filled. We expected to be working on those into the first weeks of school. We have a PE position at Wilton High School that we just hired a long-term sub for. So while that's open, we do have it filled essentially for the beginning of the year for coverage. And then we have a culinary arts position that the team has been working on, and we have some very good prospects there. So we're excited about that. For non-certified staff, we had 15 positions to fill. 13 of them have been filled, and you can see there we have 1 Miller Driscoll and 1 Cider Mill paraprofessional to fill. And then finally, for our long-term substitutes, which we have annually, you know, we have people who may be out on medical leave or other short-term leaves or longer leaves of a few months. So it's not unusual to have those kinds of positions open. We have all 8 of our openings for this year filled, so we're very excited about that. In looking at our certified staff, you know, it's not easy to be hired here, and I'm sure Brian Keating, one of our most recent hires, would attest to that. The 38 staff members that we've hired in the certified ranks are from a pool of more than 600 applicants. It's the top 6% of the applicant pool. We have a very rigorous process. It takes a lot to get hired in the Wilton Public Schools. We're proud of that. It's a 3-part interview process, and that's, you know, you get to the interview after you complete the application, which in and of itself is quite daunting for some. You know, sometimes we get feedback from applicants that they're thinking of applying, but you know, the application is lengthy, and it's lengthy for a reason. You know, we really want to find out a lot about our applicants through that process. We you know, engage them in a number of different questions about their philosophy and background and approach to teaching. And we also want to get a sense of their ability to communicate, you know, in writing. So after screening all of the candidates that come through the application process, we invite a select few in for interviews. They participate in the initial committee interview. And then from there, those candidates that are very successful are welcomed back for a demonstration lesson. And then finally, the finalist is welcomed back for each position for the central office interview. So what that means is the 38 filled positions represent about 115 interviews just for those applicants. And that's something to celebrate, but it's also something to acknowledge when thinking about the incredible amount of time and effort that our administrative staff put into the interview process. Because our administrators not only participated in those about 114 interviews, they participated in far more because of all of the applicants that they brought in that perhaps didn't advance to the demonstration lesson or didn't advance to the central office interview. And you know, the 38 filled positions also, again, represent about 3 times that in the number of reference checks that our administrators conducted. So I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate and acknowledge our administrative teams at each of the schools for the incredible amount of time, effort, and care that they put into selecting the best of the best to continue to make our school district better, and most importantly, just to provide the very best care and instruction for our kids. So thank you, administrators.
Yes, thank you.
And now to celebrate some of the members of the fall class of 2021, you know, it's always so inspirational to sit in those central office interviews and learn more about our candidates because they come from such different backgrounds. Many of them are career changers, some of them are brand new teachers. All of them have a passion for teaching and a commitment to doing the very best that they can for our students. And this is, you know, I could go on and on about the backgrounds of our candidates, of our new teachers, I should say, but I'll just give you a sample here. We have in the fall class of 2021, the Rhode Island Foreign Language Teacher of the Year. And when I say the, I mean the one in the state, the Rhode Island Foreign Language Teacher of the Year. That's pretty amazing. That's a teacher that's joining us at the high school this year. We have an Elementary Teacher of the Year for her elementary school in Brookfield, Connecticut. We have a professor, an adjunct professor at Fairfield University who teaches the methods of world language instruction, and now she's coming to teach our students in world language at Cider Mill. And we have a teacher who was recognized by the National Association for Music Education. He was a featured teacher for his guitar instruction at the high school level. So, again, that's just a sample. We have such diverse backgrounds. One of our math teachers coming on board has a law degree and a certificate in taxation. And, we hired a person who had been a professional farmer at one point in her life. And, you just think about the rich experiences that people are bringing to the classroom, the life experiences, and it's really exciting. And we're very much looking forward to welcoming our new teachers formally tomorrow at new teacher induction. We typically have this be our kickoff event for the start of the week, back to school for our teachers, but the weather this past weekend had other plans for us, and we decided to just err on the safe side and host the event tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that. So I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Yeah, Maria, throughout the summer, I read frequently about the difficulty the districts were having finding hiring teachers. Obviously driven by COVID and evidently a bunch of other reasons. We seem to have been quite successful at it. What do you attribute the 600 applicants? I mean,
I think our reputation, is well known, and we hear this often by candidates that come in and interview for us, and, they just talk about how they've aspired to work in a district like Wilton, whether they're brand new teachers or whether they're accomplished teachers in other districts. People just know about the programs that we have here, whether it's fine and performing arts or in the core content areas. The other thing that I want to acknowledge, and I really want to praise this, is people always comment on the very positive experience they have throughout the interview process. They comment on the warmth of the staff they meet during the process, the professionalism and care of the administrators who call them personally and give them updates throughout the process, the feeling that they get just walking in the buildings. And I don't think that can be overstated, because we have candidates often, and this year is no exception, we have candidates who are often considering offers in different districts all at the same time. And they choose Wilton sometimes because of the feeling that they had from being in the building. Sometimes when you look at comparable positions in the area, the pay may be similar, some of the benefits may be similar, and so then it comes down to the climate and where they want to be every day. And so often we hear from people that positive experience that they had through the interview process is what helps them make the decision to come here. And I'm very proud of that, because I think it speaks to who we are as a district, that we care about people, we care about growing not only our students, but also our teachers. And I think it's what helps us retain staff too.
Well, I think it's great. I mean, to have that many applicants is just a phenomenal thing in this environment, I think. So well done. The other question is the culinary. Losing Heather was a major blow.
Yes. It was. I mean, we were so sad to lose our culinary arts instructor at the middle school. She was incredible, inspirational, transformed that program. And while we are so sad to see her go, we're also very happy that she had the opportunity to pursue something else professionally.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No.
But I will say we're also very excited about some prospects that we've been pursuing. So I hope to have an update for you very soon on that.
Okay, good, because that's such an important program at Middlebrook. It really is. I mean, the students
Yes,
just,
it is.
it's, okay, well, good. Well, fingers crossed.
So
Yes.
I have a question. It might be a little bit more to Kevin than to Maria, but the interventionist positions that we haven't been able to fill yet and their relationship to kind of getting this accelerated framework off the ground, how are we close to filling those? Is it changing our plans a little bit? Is it making anything more difficult to implement?
I don't think so at this point. You know, we posted those positions later in the summer, as Maria said, as we were finalizing our ARP plan. And then, you know, frankly, as we were getting ready to reopen school, you know, attention was just divided in the last week or so. But we never anticipated needing interventionists right out of the gate on day one.
Okay.
And so I think as we will, you know, get school launched, and then we'll pick up the interview process. And I suspect we'll have folks, you know, placed, you know, probably late second week of school, early third week of school. Probably early third week is more accurate. And at that point, we'll be ready.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sure you have looked at this, but it seems like interventionists, there may be a pool among our
Yes.
retirees that
Yes.
are fairly local.
In fact, you know, Maria and I spoke about that earlier this week,
Okay.
and so I think we're already
Good,
tapping
good.
in.
Great.
Yeah, because
Well,
that would be great.
Congratulations, Maria. I think
Yeah,
you've
great
just
report.
done an incredible job, and congratulations to Franny yesterday for introducing all of our new teachers.
Yeah, that was a nice,
That was a
warm
great,
welcome.
that was a great way of introducing them.
Yeah.
To have Franny Donovan do it, it was really remarkable.
Yeah, we're so happy, so.
Yeah, so,
Thank
well done.
you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, and I just want to acknowledge Erica Cross and Tracy
Yeah.
DeAngelis in the
Yeah.
Office of Human Resources who process everything and just make it all happen. So kudos goes to them, and certainly the administrators once again. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. The agenda. All right. Well, that is all wonderful news. It seems like we are off to a wonderful, energetic, accomplished start. So this is great. So, and no hurricane predicted for the weekend. So we got that out of the way. So opening day. Hopefully the weather will also cooperate. All right. So without any further questions about any opening stuff.
You know, I think we're in a good position,
Yeah.
good spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. And it's a lot of work that takes
Yeah.
place during the summer. Maria and all of her staff. A lot of work.
Yeah. Okay, student dress and grooming. This is, Kevin or policy committee, you can sort of explain what happened.
Sure, I'll take this on if that's okay.
Yeah.
So we looked at this policy just a week ago. We listened to the conversation around the board table, and so went back and, based on some of that conversation, proposed one change. It's the same change to both the policy and the regulation, and it comes in the form of an additional sentence. To the best extent possible, student dress concerns will be addressed in a manner that does not disrupt the student's school day. I think that was one of the concerns that was echoed around the table, that there was some worry that kids would be taken out of class and their day would be disrupted. So I think, reinforcing that, we'll, continue to rely on the professional judgment of our staff, but to the best extent possible, avoid that, then we certainly will do so. So we've taken that, we've also added that to the regulation as well.
Okay.
That's the only change.
And we'll make the other changes I spoke about, right?
Yep. And so if there are no further comments, questions about it, we'll plan to have this on for discuss and approve on September 9th.
Perfect. All right, thank you for that change, and Glenn picked up one wording that needed changing as well. It's not substantive, but it's good, so we'll show, that'll be there as well.
Yeah, in
And
the
actually, that's in the regulation, not the policy.
The regulation.
Okay, great. All right, so this sounds like fun to talk about. Wilton Public Schools logo and mascot. Seems like there's a lot of graphic design
So
things we can look at?
There are, I'll just briefly, as you know, we started, I guess we picked up this conversation back in June at one of our last meetings, and one of our goals was to remove the feathers from the lance that's in some of our, particularly in our athletic imagery. And so we started making those changes this summer. What we committed to was having an official logo, and so you can see, kind of a proposed version of that on the briefing summary I provided for you. As well, some additional logos that will be used at the high school and high school athletics. So we were looking at those, and then today, very serendipitously, I had a meeting with Dave Cody, who is one of our longtime parents, significant volunteer here in town, very involved in the athletics community. Dave does graphic design work, and so he presented some pro bono work that he did on our logo this summer. And so what you have here is some of Dave's proposals. And, I'll tell you, frankly, he one up the work that we did in-house. Obviously, for Dave, the issue, one part of the issue was just, removing the Native American imagery. But the other goal is really to standardize the logo and to put to bed all of the other, logos, whether we created them or other people created them, that are out in the community.
Can it be true we're actually going to land on a blue?
Well, we are going to land on a blue.
We picked a Pantone color. We've got
Right? We have a
one
Wilton
Pantone color.
blue.
282.
It's here.
Yeah,
So
Pantone is the universal guide for color.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It defines, it's very specific.
Okay.
right. So
right, cool.
in Dave's proposed work,
I mean, I've been here decades, and it's all light blue, dark blue,
No.
not Darien, not this,
It
not
is
black,
Pantone, whatever
not
the
navy, but not quite this.
No,
Okay, this,
whatever this Pantone number is, that is it. Nothing else but.
all right.
so that's it. So
Yay.
there are a few things to pay attention to. So Dave, the other, he played with our Wilton W. He adjusted the size. This is just a sample, so you can actually see it in living color here.
Yeah.
If you want to take a look. He also, in his rendition, added some shading to give some 3D dimension to the W. It looks really, really sharp.
Yep.
A little more modern. And so, my opinion, that's a step beyond, what we were thinking about, and certainly better than, what we were proposing in-house. Through some of these slides that, he shared, you can see some renditions he's offered. He was, playing with the lacrosse logo. He was doing some work for the crew team, as well as the ski team. Yeah, they have one. So.
Oh, they do?
Yep, thanks. Baseball, and so I spoke to Bob and Chris this afternoon. I had them take a look at Dave's work, and they too were interested in supplanting kind of what we were proposing with Dave's work. And then as part of this, of course, we would standardize not only the color but the font. And we would do that for both academics and athletics.
Kevin, I think this is awesome. 2 questions. Would we have an ability to have these stickers for sale somewhere? I feel like one of the reasons people create all these things is because there's really no place to go to buy stickers or bumper stickers or anything.
Yeah, I think, I think the answer to your question is certainly yes. And I think, just the conversation is how to do that. Is that something that, we as a district would want to produce and sell, which we could. Oftentimes we operate through the PTAs, or the PTAs take the logos, and as well the booster clubs.
It would just be nice on the website to be do you want to purchase a sticker?
Yeah.
This is who you talk to. Because I've created stickers because I'm I don't even know how to create a sticker. My W does not look like this, and the Pantone is not that. And my second question is, a lot of times people are looking for the JPEG.
Yes.
Could we have that in one spot?
That we certainly can do. That's something Lucille started to work on this summer. She shared, the kind of the early version when we were putting some of this together just in the last month or so. She worked with Greg Therio over at the high school, and so we shared some standardized images. But I think as we kind of move forward in this process, we'll settle on some of these, and then we can put them on our webpage, we can distribute them. And then I think, to your first question, we would just have to decide, what we want to produce and where we want to sell them.
Even if there's an image available that people can go and turn into stickers,
Yeah.
would be great.
Make sure the PTAs and booster clubs.
Yeah, have their own, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
that
I
there's
feel
a
like people
clearinghouse
are-
for it.
Yeah.
There's someone that you go to request, and, because even I'm just thinking like,
Well, you just
can go to
download it.
Signature Styles, and they
Yeah.
have the W on things like all the other places
Sure.
around town. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to come up with
Yeah.
an efficient system that makes sense.
That's great.
So, yeah, so that's the update. And so I think, my recommendation, we've got a few more people to circulate this around
Yes.
through, but I think the work that Dave did
Right.
is really high quality and.
Well,
Yeah.
kudos,
Yeah.
congratulations, and stick to your guns about the mascot. Notre Dame is going through the same thing, and they're saying, we've got the leprechaun, he's ours, and we're not changing. After it was
Yes.
voted the 4th worst mascot, it was, number 4.
So Laura and I settled this, right? We started researching this
Well,
mascot
yeah.
in 2018.
Hey,
It was when, so having been, I can't say how many years I've lived in Wilton. So I wasn't even in middle school when they changed the mascot, because it used to be an indigenous person
Yeah.
originally. And then in
Yeah.
the 70s, they decided that was wrong, and then they switched to the Greek warrior. And I have to say, somewhere, Peter Tracy, I was the 25th graduating class, and we had a contest to design the new logo, and whoever won got a free yearbook for, all of 1983. That's how much the yearbook cost back then. But Peter was, I was startled when I moved back as an adult and saw, very familiar W still there from back in 1983. So, and then think of all the clearing going through my house, found my husband's class ring, the ugliest thing I've ever found, but very clearly a Greek warrior on the Wilton High School class ring.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that this is actually
Yes.
yeah,
going,
well, stick to it.
been a
It's settled history for us.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
we're going to retain the warrior
absolutely.
as our mascot.
So
Yep.
Kevin, on page 4 of this, it shows a picture of the field. And it has will we go and change the paint on the signs with the,
So the
Yeah.
banners.
Yeah.
So I talked to Dave and J.R. Sherman about that. They through their organization WARF.
Yeah.
And they've ordered new ones, and they'll continue on a replacement cycle to update all of the.
so it's not effective immediately, it's as we update.
Yeah, in
Got it.
fact, I spoke to J.R. Sometime this week, and he'd already, placed some orders. Yeah, I think you remember that they had on the back of the stadium those giant W's.
Yep.
So I think the new ones that are going to come in will be reflective of a new logo.
Great.
Okay. I think it's great news.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and
we're
thank
making
you.
progress.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to
him
Dave.
for,
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave did a great
Yeah.
job.
Wonderful. Talented people. Okay, the last reviewed discuss item is our Board of Education goals. I got a couple of suggestions. One was mentioned at our last meeting and one came in since then. So it's highlighted, both of those are highlighted in red. And I hope I captured the thoughts.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And if not, let me know. Send me any other suggestions. If I don't get any, I'll put this on next time for a approval. All right? Okay. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thanks all of us. It's,
No, that was a lot of work, and it is a very comprehensive,
yeah, thanks.
objective.
Well, I have to say, I kept walking around the house and 6 voices are in my head.
Yeah, I can.
Who
I
said
can-
what, when,
yeah.
and I tried to
Yeah.
capture it all, so.
Yeah, no, I.
So, thanks.
Yeah, I can
It
appreciate
was kind of fun. All right, there are no action items. You see our business, can I ask for one more thing, is a financial update? Can we,
We'll have one in September.
okay,
So,
all right,
yeah.
because I'd like to see the federal funds and all that sort of stuff. And
Just real quick, there is a enrollment projection attached. Is that different from what we saw last week? Has it been updated?
I think it's dated August 23rd, so.
Yeah, so this is the
Maybe
same, well, this
little
is
minor
different from last week then.
Yeah, we continue to update this
Okay,
weekly.
so this is a new one. Okay.
And
The lesson was August 9th, and you had said
Yeah.
that you wanted it new, so that was as of August 23rd. It's probably changed again, so
Yeah.
I can send it out each week, you know,
Yeah.
as we, I probably, after the first day, when kids show up, I'll maybe
Yeah.
send it out after that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
And the workshop, will, that's not on here, the September 2nd workshop, right?
No, it's not. We got a notice about that today. Yeah. So I know people have like ridiculously busy schedules. So the workshop on the academic accelerated learning and some of
Yeah.
the testing data, the workshop will certainly be the workshop, but it's also coming to the board table. So, if you want to call in for the workshop, that's fine, or if you can't attend it at all, it will be discussed at the board table. But for those that need to and want to and would like to dive in, that's the workshop.
Got it.
All right? So it's not like it disappears. It'll come to the board table, but in a truncated version. So if you want to sort of delve into the details and dive into stuff
And
and
that's the second.
understand all the technical terminology and all of that, you'll get that at the workshop.
Yeah, and that's the workshop so on the 2nd, right? Thursday 2nd.
I forget the date.
Yep, Thursday the
Thank you.
2nd, 12:30.
Yeah, so it's in between.
I gotta put that on my,
I'll send the invites tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll send
all right,
it.
yeah.
I didn't want to send them before this meeting, because I didn't want anybody to get confused with the panelist invite.
Right.
So I'll send them out tomorrow.
okay, that's perfect. All right, and again, I just want to reassure those people who are really, and I know many of you have conflicting work schedules, that the issue will come to the table, but it can't be in as much depth because it would take the entire meeting. Okay, so, what else? Hall of Fame, October 7th, that's a big deal.
Hall of Fame is a big deal.
So we will be hearing more about that.
Yes.
Comments from...
Is that a live, like, save the date?
Yes.
Yeah, oh,
And
yeah.
it's in place of our meeting.
But what time, is that at 7 o'clock?
It's usually,
We'll
Well,
probably
you'll
schedule
figure
it
it out.
around 6. We did 6
Okay.
the
Yeah.
first time we ran it.
Got it.
That's a great night.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I can save the date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a great, great night.
yeah, and thanks for saying it might be a little bit earlier than our regular meeting. Okay, Lucille, are there any comments from the public at this point?
Yes, there are.
Okay, then my preface is always, please keep remarks to 2 minutes. The board does not respond directly, there's no interaction, but we obviously listen carefully and if appropriate, follow up individually later.
Comment is from Jared Martin. We certainly appreciate all the tremendous work of our teachers and administrators. I would like to recognize Jose and the entire facilities staff for all the work they've done for our schools throughout the summer, as well as the constant adaptation to the ever-changing COVID protocols. You all truly keep our schools running. Regards, Jared Martin.
Okay, thank you.
Last one.
Any other comments?
No.
Okay, great.
We'll respond to that one with a thank you.
I said thank you.
Okay.
All right, having finished the meeting and not seeing anybody with any other issues, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.